Good morning, everybody. Shift your mindset here, and I'm excited about this topic because yesterday I was reading some stuff, doing my own research, not even about Jehovah's Witnesses or what is happening with the Jehovah's Witnesses or whatever, but there is no coincidence. And I found something interesting which I can apply to the governing body. So today's episode will be about the Dunning-Kruger effect. I didn't heard of it yet. Maybe one or two times, didn't notice it, and now it landed. What is the Dunning-Kruger effect? In short sentence, it is: this effect occurs when a person lack of knowledge and skill in a certain area causes them to overestimate their own competence. And I thought, whoa! And I immediately thought about the Jehovah's Witnesses and especially about the governing body. So, individuals with a low ability overestimate their skill level. And it's in the whole Jehovah's Witness religion where this thing comes back. We see it at the governing body. We see it with the circuit overseers. We see it with the elders. They overestimate their skill level, even if they have a low ability in a certain area of life. And a low ability, I don't want to say that people are dumb or people have bad intentions or stuff like that. It's not about that, but it's just about the skill level. I have a low ability in construction work because I'm not specialized in that. I have no experience in that, and I don't want to have experience in that stuff. I know something about electrical things inside the house. I can hang a lamp and wires, do something with the wires, but I can't install a new system like the guys did with the solar system. I don't know what they are doing when they hang it and connect everything and go to the DB board. I have low ability in electrics too. I can try some things, and I do some things when the power is off, of course, but I have low ability in that area. And that's not something you would be ashamed of. But I'm not preaching to other people. I'm not let people hire me as an electrician, because then I'm fooling people. And then I overestimate myself. If I go out now and say, hey, I'm the best electrician, if you have something in your house, you want to install something new, call me. Then I'm gonna overestimate myself. And that's the thing the elders, the governing body, circuit overseers, district overseers do. They overestimate their abilities. And I broke it down to a few points. So let's dive into that. The first point is authority and knowledge. Authority and knowledge. Why? Because the governing body positions itself as the ultimate authority on biblical interpretations and teachings. They brag about we are God's only channel on earth. We are the faithful and discreet slave. We are God's mouthpiece. And they overestimate themselves even more because it's now not Jehovah gave us direction, Jehovah through his Holy Spirit said to us this and this and that, No, it's now we, the governing body, have decided. They're overestimating their knowledge and, of course, using that as authority. None of them are certified Greek scholars. Also not in the writing committee. So when they were translating the Bible, they overestimated their own skills. Just an example. And what's the problem with that? The problem is that members assume, because they are the leaders, that they have a superior understanding of spiritual matters, of scriptures. But they lack knowledge. They lack expertise in certain areas. And they are not engaging with critical perspectives. They brush it off. They never respond to criticism. They only want to control you. And the problem is, the Jehovah's Witnesses are looking up to them because they have authority. And that's the smart thing they do. They let you feel like they are Mr. Know-it-all. So that's one, knowledge and authority. The second one is limited feedback. Because the structure of the Jehovah's Witness religion, the structure of the governing body, they discourage questioning in all areas, not only in one area, in all areas. And that creates an environment where leaders never get constructive criticism. They interfere in your personal life, but the governing body hasn't worked in real life for more than 30 years already. Brother Lush, Brother Hurt, maybe for 40 or 50 years already. They have not had a proper worldly job. They don't know what you are going through at the moment. They don't know the pressure this society is putting on your shoulders. They don't know that you have to make ends meet. That you need that job that sucks. But you need to provide food on the table for your children and for your wife. Everything is getting more expensive. There is pressure on you. And the man has to be the responsible one. The man has to lead his family. The man has to lead his family to the congregation meeting. But that man is struggling. The governing body isn't struggling. They have a full-time nurse on hand. They have people who push the wheelchair for lead or hurt because they are now having back pains and being older. Their room is being cleaned by people with free labor, the Bethelites. They have no worries about money because they have suits on demand. Their closet is full. Every night there's food on the table. They don't have to combine the ministry with your worldly work, with all the pressure that's going on in your head. So for sure they get feedback. They got feedback for Ramapo. Why are you building an expensive video center? And that feedback was criticized by the governing body, that you just have to trust them, etc., etc. They're just brushing it off. You're irritating them. So it's not about the constructive feedback you're getting. They don't want to hear it. I even doubt if the governing body members are going out into the ministry now. And they're pushing you into ministry, but they don't know how the ministry has changed. The people are not waiting to see Jehovah's Witnesses on the doorstep. That they need another approach or whatever. They are not someone who's with the feet in the mud. And if someone is not working with his people, you get this. You get limited feedback. They don't want feedback. Because then they have to change things. And they don't want to change that. And also, the Dunning-Kruger effect, because they are remaining unaware of their limitations as a governing body member, and it shows in the way they are understanding or interpreting certain doctrines. And that's what you see back at the governing body. Their limitations, they have limitations, but they don't show those limitations. And then you get the interpreting of certain doctrines. Then you get that whole overlapping generation stuff. They have no limits. They think they know it all. And just say, hey, we don't know it. We'll see. Jehovah's Day will come someday. But no, to justify the things they're doing, they are gonna overestimate themselves, and then you get the overlapping generations. Then you get new doctrines. Then you get new policies. Then you get new policies and doctrines covered as new light. Just to keep on overestimating themselves. The third one is firm belief in their understandings. The governing body promotes a strong, unwavering belief in their interpretations of scriptures as divinely guided. And that confidence must align with the Dunning-Kruger effect. Because where overconfidence in the spiritual knowledge prevents them from considering alternative viewpoints or acknowledging errors. And we know, you as a Jehovah's Witness who is watching now, or ex-Jehovah's Witness who are watching now, you know they are not acknowledging errors. So they're overestimating themselves while they have a low ability of certain doctrines. But no, their spiritual knowledge, their overestimating knowledge prevents them from considering alternative viewpoints. Hey, maybe it's also like this. Oh yeah, maybe possible. But no, only their view, only their doctrine is the true and only one. Fourth one, the impact on members. Followers may adopt the same overconfidence in their own understanding of teachings stemming from the governing body's assertions. This can lead to a lack of critical thinking or inquiry among members, hindering personal and spiritual growth. So their low ability, that overestimating themselves, has one thing where it's leading to. You're hindering your personal and your spiritual growth. So you're not only hindering yourself, that you're growing, but also your spiritual growth isn't growing. Why? Because they are adopting the teachings of the governing body. So the rank and file, the Jehovah's Witnesses, are also overestimating themselves in the understanding of the teachings. And fifth one, and I keep it at 5 because it's a big effect on us So it's a lot to take in. It's the resistance to external input. And that's also an important one. Why? Because the organization encourages members to shun outside viewpoints, fostering a mindset that reinforces the Dunning-Kruger effect. This isolation from diverse perspectives can keep both leaders and members from recognizing the complexity of certain issues. So it's important to approach this with sensitivity, because if you understand this, all these cognitive biases, then we can have more meaningful conversations with each other about personal growth, about leaders, etc. But their resistance to external input is one of the worst things about this Dunning-Kruger effect. Because the governing body doesn't want outside perspectives, even not from their own members. The elders don't want alternative viewpoints from the people below them. Governing body doesn't want it from the people below them. Circuit overseer doesn't want it from the people below them. And the elders are also not interested in your viewpoint on the matter. If an elder is coming to you for a shepherding call or whatever, he doesn't want to hear about your problems. He is only there to get you back to the congregation meeting, into the ministry, and being an active, following member. A sheep. And the great voice is the governing body. And they are equal or higher than Jesus himself. That's why that Dunning-Kruger effect is so big in the Jehovah's Witnesses, and I had to make a video about it because it's a one-on-one deal. This I immediately thought, hey, those guys with low abilities in certain areas are portraying themselves as if they are God's mouthpiece on earth. Talk about humbling yourself. And we see it now back, because some people got offended by me calling the elders windows washers. My experience was, in my country, a lot of elders were window washers. So I'm not gonna go on that road. People are having a worldly job. Office, window washer, construction, Bob the Builder, whatever. But leading people spiritually is another area. Often the elders are not that spiritual, in my experience. But one thing those elders all have in common, where they overestimate themselves, also the service department, also the governing body, is to think that you can handle abuse. You're a spiritual leader. You have knowledge in the spiritual area. But the area of how to deal with abuse is not your expertise. But they claim they know how to handle that. Jehovah's Witness elders are washing the windows, and at night they are confronted with abuse. It's not to insult a window washer, but it's normal that you don't have that expertise. My expertise is IT, but if I have to bring my product into the market, I need something who knows about marketing. So I attract someone from the outside or maybe inside my company to do that marketing piece for me, to write a nice article, not too technical, but fluently that everybody understands it. Because if I'm writing it, the normal guys are not understanding what I'm saying. So why don't you attract people from the outside? And that's the fifth point I just said, resistance to external input. Why don't you cooperate with people in the world who are known for handling abuse, who have certain degrees in psychological things, in understanding how the mind works, how to deal with trauma, how to cope with all those things? Because nowhere in the world people have a victim and that perpetrator, that pervert, in one room in a judicial committee. That the victim who has been traumatized have to face their attacker. Even in the courtroom, if you don't want it, he's getting separated. But Jehovah's Witnesses make mistake after mistake after mistake. Why are the elders not trained by a worldly organization how to deal with an abuse case? Why is the governing body resisting to the external input from professionals? Because they shun outside viewpoints, because they are suffering from this whole Dunning-Kruger effect. It's real, people. They don't want external input. If I have in the company where I worked for, one had to do emergency help. So once a year, he or she goes external, how to extinguish a fire, how to do mouth-to-mouth exercises when someone gets a heart attack or whatever. What to do when there breaks out a fire, how to collect those people and accompanying them outside of the building, and to do a head count when we are out of the building. How many minutes it takes, etc. That's a course he or she has to take every year, because the company needs at least one or two from those people for the safety of the group. So external input, it's important. But no, Jehovah's Witnesses, we resist external input. We resist external input from our own people. We don't want feedback from their own people. We are the authority and we have the knowledge. And that's a typical Dunning-Kruger effect, that people with low abilities in certain areas overestimate themselves. So these are the 5 points, people. Just Google it, the Dunning-Kruger effect, and read it for yourself and how it applies to our former belief. And I think it will help you to get a clear vision about that you did nothing wrong. And even if you have problems nowadays, or still feeling it difficult to talk about your beliefs, let that go, because people around you are not your enemy. So if you left the organization, tell them where you come from. Face fears bluff. Face the governing body's bluff. Like a little kid, we thought there was a monster under our bed, and when someone helped us to look under the bed, you saw that it was just a bluff of fear. And that's also now face, fears, bluff. You think that when you tell your co-workers that you were a Jehovah's Witness, that they will say, what? Because you were used to the fact that the external input would harm you. That's what they brainwash you with as a governing body. External input. You just, nowadays, you still see it as external input that's gonna harm you. But face, fears, bluff. Little steps. And this for one of the subscribers who commented yesterday that this feels therapeutic. I hope I pronounced it right. And that you still have some problems in that you see yourself into ministry and stuff like that, and also don't talk about it with other people. I had to talk about it the first time on national television when we moved to South Africa. We were followed by a television station, 2 million people were watching, and I talked about how I was shunned by my family. It was the most difficult thing for me to do, but the reaction I got, so much compassion, so much empathy for people, because they feel your struggle, they feel your energy, they feel that you are hurt by your own people. So face, fears, bluff. It's scary. It was scary for me. It is scary, but it's so liberating when you face, fears, bluff. And don't let the governing body still dictate how you feel, how you act, and how you express yourself. So thank you for today's episode, the Dunning-Kruger effect. Google it. If you think that someone needs to see it, share this video with that someone, and let's get on with our lives. Live your day to the fullest. Have a beautiful day, people, and we'll see each other on the next episode.